Tonight, we bring you the final piece of our series focusing on the challenges faced by our rural EMS departments in Iowa. You heard the issues, from staffing shortages to a shortage of personal protective equipment. But what can be done to help? Well, a recent piece of Iowa legislation could be the answer first responders are looking for. Here is ABC 6 News reporter Brett Backley and photojournalist Brian Wise.
For a lot of paramedics in North Iowa, there are a number of concerns, especially for one county in Iowa that does not have an ambulance service.
We're currently working on trying to get a full-time ambulance service in Worth County. We don't have one right now. We rely on first responders, and then Mason City Ambulance comes up to take patients from us.
A.J. Stone is a Worth County supervisor. He says it's been a big issue over the last few years with more and more calls and less volunteers. He says there are some spots in North Iowa that can take up to 30 minutes to get to.
A lot of times with certain calls, they're sending the helicopter up because transport's quicker. So that's a big issue with us is transport times, getting critical patients to the hospital in a timely fashion.
But there's an even bigger issue than not having an ambulance. One would think saving lives is important to any community.
There's actually no law out there that says we have to send an ambulance.
I think there's a misperception in the public that EMS already is an essential service.
So it would be great that they would recognize us, especially, they've seen how important we were through the pandemic.
They hope the name tag will bring in some extra funding, which these rural departments desperately need.
The second we get a call and the wheels go outside the garage, we're losing money.
Without any money from the state, it's difficult for volunteer departments to keep the doors open. Donations help, but it's just not enough to support the services.
You can't expect ambulance services to function when they're losing money. And a lot of that is, Medicare, Medicaid, and in rural communities, that's probably 60% of our calls is the elderly community.
Forest City Paramedic Supervisor Dale Rahan says for starters, he'd like to see reimbursement rates from Medicare and Medicaid match its operating costs. Right now, every call his staff responds to, the expenses incurred outweigh the payments, whether they're from insurance companies or government programs.
And sometimes 6 minutes is too long. The patient doesn't have 6 minutes.
It's a struggle they've faced for years. Now, after a global pandemic, the ball is finally rolling. Iowa EMS Association President Mark Sakin says the pandemic created a renewed interest in both the House and Senate to reclassify EMS as essential. And in June, Governor Kim Reynolds signed the bill into law, allowing counties in Iowa to declare EMS as essential, as well as levy taxes on a local level.
The legislation is pretty clear. We can't tax over what we need. We can only tax for the amount that we require. So they have to do an annual report on how that money is being spent and why that money is needed, so that they can sustainably run their services and keep those ambulances in service.
With his assistance, Sakin hopes these heroes can get the help they need to take care of the rest of us.
I think people are becoming more aware of the importance and really what the state of EMS is in Iowa.
There's numerous things going on in Worth County right now, but one of our primary things is this ambulance service.
Brett Backley, ABC 6 News.